Good morning. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Performing Arts Series brought to you by the Kennedy Center and by the Prince William Network. I'm Billy Taylor, and I play the piano, and I'm joined by Chip Jackson, who plays the bass, and with Art Harper, who plays the drums. We're the Billy Taylor Trio, and we're jazz musicians, and it's important to us to speak to you in the language that we know best, the language of jazz. We find that jazz music allows us to say many things which we cannot put into words, and we hope that you'll understand what we're saying and respond to the feelings that we're trying to express. And it's an important aspect of our tradition for those of us who are older and more experienced to share what we have learned with younger musicians. And we've traveled all over the world together and separately too, and taken jazz to many places we never even dreamed of when we were your age. You know, we found that there are people in many of those places that around the world who don't enjoy the freedom of speech that we take for granted here in the United States. Today, we want to use that freedom to show you several young friends of ours, and we want to show you how we use, and them, we want to show you all how we use the music to share our feelings with others. And today, these three musicians are really very special, the next generation of jazz musicians, and they are Christian Sands on piano, Renee, oh my goodness, Renee Cruz on bass. How about that? Carol Von de Shiel III on drums. Now, much of the music we play and much of the music we'll hear today will be spontaneously improvised. And a performer who has every performer has a couple of ways to go about doing things. You can select that what you're going to play by playing vertically. That is, you can take the chords and sort of put them together, put the notes together, and do something with it, as Coleman Hawkins used to do. Or Lester Young did something totally different. What he would do is to just take melodies and kind of string the melodies together. Now, these young people are going to demonstrate some of the things that I just said in a different way when they begin to play. Now, you can develop a melody by expanding a motif and really doing something very special with it. Now, before I go any further, though, I want to remind you that this program is interactive, and you have an opportunity, those of you who are here, have an opportunity to ask questions, and those of us who are listening and looking at us on another media, then you can, later in the broadcast, you can use your 800 number or your email address, which will be appearing on your screen, and we'll get to your questions too. But right now, let's get started with what we call a master class, because what I'm going to do is to talk to musicians, and the other members of the trio are going to do the same thing. And what we do is to share some of the things that we've done when we've played with various groups all around the world. And we're going to do that right here with you. So we'd like to introduce the first musician, Christian Sands, here. And Christian, you've worked with me up at the University of Massachusetts, and I really was impressed by many of the things that, as a very young man, you could do in terms of the technique that you've developed and so forth. You have a good facility to doing things. You get over the instrument with a great deal of ease. How long have you been playing?
Well, I've been playing for at least 15 years.
At least. Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you are not much older than that. I mean, okay. Now, the idea of a young man being able to play with the verve and feeling that you have, that came about with a lot of practice. What inspired you? Who did you listen to learn how to play?
Well, I listened to a lot of Fats Waller first. Well, let me explain this. Lately, I've been trying to figure out where most of the music has come from. So I look back to the 20s and 30s and before then, and looked at all the piano players like Fats Waller, Willie the Lion Smith, people like that. And I try to progress my way up through the generations. So now I'm up to Herbie Hancock.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Well, you've covered a lot of time. As a matter of fact, if you've gone all the way from the early days to Herbie Hancock, you've gone through about 100 years already. So that's pretty quick. In terms of the earlier styles, is there one of those styles was stride piano? Can you do that at all?
Yeah, sure.